My childish parents abandoned me and now want to make more children suffer. First of all, I shared my post with my grandparents and they were so surprised by it. I, in turn, also took the opportunity to tell them how much I loved them and how much I appreciated everything they had ever done for me. They are my real parents and nothing is ever going to change that. There were some tears and they told me they loved me and how proud they were of me. They never thought of themselves as doing something special or worth so much appreciation. They were just taking care of family, but they are the best. After that I started trying to collect my thoughts and arranging a meeting with my father to discuss the things that were bothering me. Why did he abandon me? Why did he think he could just reappear into my life like that? That I wasn't going to move in with them and I didn't consider them my parents because they never acted as such, etc. We met at a park and he went to hug me but I stepped away and he looked hurt and he just apologized for what happened the other day and went into this speech about how we could try to transition into living together part-time and respect my boundaries and I went blank. I didn't expect for him to talk so I pulled out my phone and just showed him the post I made the other day and he started reading it in silence. After a while he read it all in some responses and he just asked me if this was true and I said yes and he asked me if I had questions he would answer honestly. I asked what happened when I was born and he told me that when my mother got pregnant all options were laid on the table. Abortion, adoption, marriage, Gramps taking care of me, only one of my parents taking me in. My mother was deadly scared of adoption because some religious group had told them some horror story about dead babies and mothers being killers or some BS like that so she wanted to give me up for adoption but my father refused. He couldn't bear the idea of having his child living somewhere and never seeing him again. So he proposed to taking me in as sole caretaker and leaving his college plans to stay in our city but his parents weren't thrilled with this plan and pushed him to go to college so that he could provide economically for me. They offered themselves to take care of me but they were significantly older than my maternal grandparents. She was an only child and, at the time they were just 40 whereas my father has 5 older siblings and his parents were already in their 60s. And since taking care of me meant taking care of my mother for a while as well my maternal grandparents decided it was the best decision for them to take me. Also, immediately after I was born, my mother had postnatal depression and the doctors advised them to not completely remove them from her side or more damage to our relationship could be done and my grandparents wanted her to eventually love me as a son. One thing to note about my father that I didn't mention in my op is that even when he was in college he worked part-time to pay child support and once he started working in a law firm he started sending more money to my grandparents and set up a college fund for me, which was news for me. My grandparents don't know about this but my mother does so I don't know what to do with this information. My father thought of me all the time he spent away and believed he had left me with a happy family and that he was working to give me a better life but I followed his life through social media. He went to parties, vacations, had girlfriends and did lots of fun stuff and barely had any contact with me. I asked him why couldn't have he made more of an effort to be a part of my life? Like I understand if he needed to study in another city and work there but it's no effort to call or text. Coming once a year just doesn't cut it. He looked ashamed and apologized to me and I took advice that I saw in a lot of the comments here. That I would forgive but not forget and that maybe we can build a relationship going forward but it will always be marked by his actions in the past. If he hasn't been my dad for 16 years, he can't start now. He seemed sad but accepted my conditions. I then told him about my concerns about my mother, told him how bad he treated me as a child, that I did not think she would be a good mother for my sibling and that I wanted to go low/no contact with her. He said that after he left for college and they broke up he would call her once in a while to check up on things but that quickly ended and when he came back she explained to him that her and I had a great bond and, even though we didn't see each other daily, it was because I was in those teenage years and that she loved spending time with me and had been a very hands-on mom. I told him that all that she said was a lie and that she never cared for me. He obviously read the stuff from my post but I also told him other things like when she would ask my grandparents babysitting money for taking care of me or that she would call me annoying or disgusting to my face when we still lived together and that severely messed me up. He was very serious and said he would talk to her but that he really would not allow a child to be treated like that and that he was sorry for letting that happen to me. Lastly he told me I would have a bedroom in his house but he understood perfectly that I would never live there. He was quite emotional at this point and got choked up at this point when he asked me if, even if I didn't consider him my father I would consider his baby my sibling. I said of course that I planned to be a very active part in their life if I could. He started crying and asked if he could hug me and this time I agreed. I am happy about the resolution of our conversation and I really do believe he will be a good parent for my sibling.